Following on from the previous video, we had two bricks. We had two bricks, and the center of gravity was right here. So if you place a stick right here, it should balance. And then I add an extra brick, and then ask you to calculate this distance here. How far across should we move the stick in order for the three blocks to balance? So we have to calculate this distance here, the x value here. Okay, so remember back in high school, let's say you've got an elephant that weighs, let's say 3 kilograms at a distance of 2. So the clockwise torque would be this times this, which would be 6. And then the anti-clockwise torque would be, let's say you've got a giraffe that weighs, let's say 2 kilograms, and then a distance of 3 meters. Then this times this, the torque would be 6. So this is 6 and this is 6. So it balances. So now using the same idea, using the same idea. So if you look at this, if you look at two, so now it really boils down to 2 blocks versus 1 block. 2 blocks, the center of gravity is right here with 2 blocks. With 1 block, it will be the old center of gravity plus 1. So this distance here is 1, because remember, each block we said we deliberately made each block to have a length of 2 for simplicity. So the length here is 2. So this length here is 1. So hang on. So we are trying to search for this x value here, the gap in between here, the gap in between. So if you look at the anti-clockwise torque, it would be this distance, which would be x, is what we're trying to work out. It would be this distance times the mass of these 2 bricks. Let's just imagine it has a mass of 1 kilogram, 1 kilogram. Well, this one, it doesn't really matter if it's 1 or 2, because later on this one will also have 1 kilogram. But let's just imagine it has a mass of 2 kilograms here. So the center of gravity being around here. Sorry, the center of gravity being around here. The anti-clockwise torque would be this distance times the mass of the 2 bricks. So it would be 2 times x, because x would be this distance. So x is our distance here, and then you've got a mass of 2 kilograms. So you would get the distance x times 2. So the anti-clockwise torque will be 2x. Let's look at the clockwise torque. Well, so this distance here is 1, because the length of the brick is 2. So this distance here is 1. But you're interested in this distance here, because remember, we are placing the stick here. So we would need to work out the clockwise torque. Well, this distance here, hang on, let's start again. So from here to here is 1, but we are interested in this distance here. So it would be 1 take away this distance here, which would be x, So the distance, this distance here is given by this. And then we need to times the mass of this 1 brick. So we will need to times 1 because we've only got 1 brick. So the anti-clockwise torque would be 2x, because 2 for 2 bricks, and then this distance here is x. The clockwise torque will be this thing here, 1 take away x. So you're searching for an x in such a way that this side will equal this side. So it's really you solving this. So now add x to both sides. So that would be 3x equals 1. So x is really a third. X is really a third. So looking at this, if you add an extra block, you should move the center of gravity across by a third. So hang on. So with just one block, the center of gravity is at 1. With 2 blocks, the center of gravity would be 1 plus a half. With 3 blocks, the center of gravity would be, well, the old center of gravity with 2 blocks would be 1 plus a half, would be 1 plus a half. Now if you add an extra block, you need to move this across by a third. So the center of gravity for 3 blocks would be 1 plus a half plus a third. Okay, so my next question. Suppose the center of gravity for 3 blocks would be this plus this plus this, which would be here, which will be. Now let me put a grid on here. Bear with me. Where's my grid? So hang on. Bear with me. So there's my grid. So the center of gravity with 3 blocks. Remember, 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3. With 3 blocks, the center of gravity would be this 1 and almost 2. So it would be so 1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here. So it's the center of gravity for 3 blocks will be around here, just before the 2. Just before the 2. Well, my next question here is with four blocks. So the center of gravity for 3 blocks would be this, would be right here. So this thing here is this. Okay. So now I'm going to add an extra block, which is our 4th block. How far across should we move the center of gravity? So where would the center of gravity be for 4 blocks? I will tell you in the next video. Okay. So have a think. Press pause and have a go.